Welcome back to Let's Play.
It's Let's Play.
I'm Diego.
And I'm Esteban.
We were just talking about how systems need to be consistent in games.
Okay, hey.
Oh, not need to be consistent.
No. I'm going to pull you even further back. It's not the consistent part that I'm going to call you out there. It's that they need to be. It's not even that they should be. It's just that conventional design wisdom... Oh, dang, it's raining. Conventional game design wisdom will always preach that a game system should be consistent, predictable, repeatable. A player can tell what their action is going to be doing when they do it. And if there is chance, it is consistent chance. It's always going to be a 50-50 chance that something happens. It's always going to be a 20-30 chance. That way that the uncertainty is itself still predictable. The unpredictability is itself still predictable. That's a way that conventional design thinking tells us a satisfying system should work, because then the player can trust a system. Now, Harvest Moon, which I love, I love this game so dearly, is not a trustworthy system.
True.
Harvest Moon is a highly obfuscated, unpredictable, unwieldy, and uncontrollable system.
Would you say that this is true for sort of the Harvest Moon sort of at large, or just sort of this first iteration?
Specifically this iteration. I think it...
Is it made clearer in sort of further games?
Aha! There's a broken fence. There we go. That would cause disaster if we had any livestock.
What about my poor dog? What about Merv?
Well, actually, so that's one of the funny things with the dog. So you took the dog out for the night, right? Set him outside. And were you thinking of putting him back inside today?
Maybe.
It's raining, though.
Maybe.
So that's one of the weird, interesting things with this game. Like, does it matter if you put the dog back in or not? As far as the game's code is concerned, as far as the systems at play for the consequences of the game, it might matter. It might not matter. I don't know. There's so many weird little things that this game does in terms of, like, there's a goddess who can show up and, like, depending on some morality questions, might give you rewards or not. Does whether you take care of your dog well, does that count towards a different system? I don't think specifically it does anything with that. But is there a system where how you treat your dog affects something? There's like magic beans that can let you go up to like a Jack and the Beanstalk type area. Do the variables that account for that potentially happening, are those influenced by how well you take care of your dog? There's no freaking way to know anything of this in the game. That's all obfuscated. That's all hidden. But it might. And because it might, that means that as a player, you are superstitious in how you're playing this game. You develop your own habits. You develop your own beliefs. And you have to trust the game in a almost spiritual level rather than an explicit level. Mm-hmm. You're behaving out of habit, out of superstition. That means your faith in this is in like how you think it should behave, right? Like you're taking care of your dog not because it might affect the game. Well, you'll take care of your dog because it might affect the game, but how you take care of your dog is most likely going to be determined by just like your own role play in that. Mm-hmm. Like what kind of person am I? Because your role play is the only thing that can determine how you expect things to behave. Because the game is not going to tell you how it's going to react. It's got too much hidden information, and so the only way that can guide the player is their own preconceptions, what they bring into it. So are you still building fences? The entire day has passed and we haven't done any farming. It's raining.
Well, the rain has done the farming for me.
Okay. We assume, right?
Yeah.
we that's the thing. Nothing in the game has told us that if it rains, you don't have to water your plants. We're assuming.
Honestly,
I'm not 100% sure that that's true or not.
Watering the plants didn't tell me if I watered the plants because the color of the tiles didn't change at all, but also it was night.
Okay, yeah, at nighttime, I don't know if the tile palette changes. Usually when you water it, they change colors.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But not always, because it's night now.
Mm-hmm.
So... So did it work or not? This is what farming's like in real life. You're like, I'm going to grow these tomatoes. Are they alive? Are they dead? I don't know. I guess we'll find out in 2 months.
But, so speaking to the roleplay point, at the same time, don't you think that might sort of limit your enjoyment of... Oops.
It doesn't limit my enjoyment, but I understand that it limits 99% of other people's enjoyment of it, you know?
Well, because I never think of it as role playing in terms of how I take care of my dog, for example, how I take care of Mervil. Like I don't consider that role playing because, like you're saying, it is me bringing my sort of
Preconceptions.
my essentially my biases into it.
Why is that not role play?
Because I'm not playing as someone else, and I'm not sort of intentionally doing it. I don't think.
Okay, so it's not role play if you're playing as yourself.
I would say if I was intentionally playing as myself, because you see things like pacifist runs in games where people sort of want to play by their own morality, and that is intentionally sort of playing a game in a way that is you are playing a role, and your role is yourself in a way that the game doesn't sort of might not want you to do or might otherwise allow for other options. It's because of the obfuscation of this, you aren't intentionally playing as yourself. You're just playing as yourself, usually, except for something like romancing other people, where you, I would posit, tend to also play as yourself. But that's also just sort of from my
Your own experience.
from how I play it.
Gotcha.
And I think that also might be true of just sort of how I play role-playing games in general, where I tend to play more like myself. I, a long while ago, asked around, both on Twitter and in person, like, in games like Telltale games, if people play like the characters they are controlling, or whether they sort of more play by their own morality. And a much higher percentage than I anticipated said that they played as the characters they were controlling. When I would say something like Telltale's systems of talking and morality, for me, because I try to be a good person in the real life, would also make me try to sort of settle things and be a good person in the game life, which personally is interesting because I play a lot of RPGs, tabletop RPGs, and there I don't find the same sort of difficulty in assuming a different role, and there I'm not entirely sure why.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that ends up depending a lot on how the game itself sets up, whether a player wants to, will tend to assume a role of a character versus assuming the role of themselves. Okay, we gotta set a better plan for tomorrow, because just setting up these fences is boring.
I was just wanting to sort of fully utilize the fences. Tomorrow I'll head into town.
You know, if we wanted to play ideally,
we would break all
get
the
that
fences.
high score, get all that sweet money, maximize capital, get them profits, sow the land for all of its worth, we would have no walls.
This just in, capitalism itself says no walls. We will talk about that next time on Let's Play.